clean off the glue on it. Like this so you can see. And just make sure it's straight. Looks pretty straight. It's good. Take my neck. And you don't want to sand the edge of your heel cap. You have that nicely fitted right now. It'd be a shame to get that distorted. And you don't want to sand this for a long time because the last thing you want to do is change the angle of it. The idea is to make it so it's smooth and flat. I like to have my neck in upwards position towards myself. And then take, for the heck of it, let's put one veneer on each side. See what happens. There's one there. Side, put it in, and it still rocks a little bit, so put one more in, and now it's kind of tight. It's this one veneer might be a little on the tall side, so it's not allowing my neck to sit properly, so just carefully trim. You can use a plane if you want to have it nice and straight. Like this. And it actually fits quite nicely. If I have it seated all the way in, I try to pull, I can still get a little bit of movement, which would suggest that I should put some more shims on the back side because I can pull it back. So then I'll pull it forwards and get a bit of movement there too. So it looks as though I might just need one more shim. I would be willing to bet $1 that as soon as I put this shim in, it will be quite tight. So we'll see. Yeah, it's quite tight now. So it's not seated all the way down, it's still sitting about 1 millimeter high. Let's see if there's any rocking. There's no rocking to the back. Let's see if there's any rocking to the front. There's a tiny bit of movement. That's about as tight as I'll be able to get it. So I'm guessing that that's how tight it is. Sometimes I'll take off the shim, but taking off half the shim will be a little too tight.
Nice and cold in here.
So what I'm going to do is I want to move the neck to the side. So, hey, how's it going? So what I'll do is I'll remove some material off of either the shim or the actual dovetail, male or female. I want to keep the strength up on the male end. So what I'll do is, just for the heck of it, I'm going to keep both shims in place, but I will sand with my little dovetail sanding stick on the treble side. Not very much, just a little bit. I used to use a chisel for this, and then my friend Anthony Koss made me this wonderful little device. I've made a few since, and it's pretty handy. Here, these back in here. Don't smash your guitar. This is the time where you will smash your headstock onto the soundboard of your guitar. And I'll put it in place. Again. That's about as tight as I can get it. And it's still sitting a little bit proud, which is just great because it's not tight enough yet. So I'm going to see what kind of movement I have. A little bit at the back, nothing at the top. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just hitting my palm of my hand against the heel cap. I am going to take off a little bit of material, a third of it, off the one side. And I'm going to tuck the short shim in behind the long shim so it doesn't fall down. So now I have 2/3 on the inside and then one full shim over here and then 2 full shims on this side. I'll slide it down. And looking pretty similar. So these are the times where I will go to my drum sander and I'll make some thinner shims. So I'm going to see if I can make this shim instead of 14 thousandths of 1 inch. I think this is the crappy one. So you know what, keep those there, I found these. Thanks. So 16, I'm going to go for 8 thou. So I'll put one here on top of another so I don't go too thin on the machine. Oh, I smell that nice maple. That smells really good.
Just fried some bacon in the top and add some maple and you're all good.
Okay, so now it's 11 thou. I took off 5 thou. So now, do the math. What I'll do is I'll take those 1 full shim from each side. I will remove, and I will replace with an 11.5 thousandths of an inch thick shim. So I'll trim these now because they get a little thinner, a little finer. Shims. So take off 1 big, goodbye. Hello, one thin. And take off 1 big, goodbye. And hello, little thin one. And I do believe that should fit quite well now. Ah, it's loose. That's great. So now it's loose. If I look at it, which direction do I want it to move? I want it to move that way now. So what I'll do is take off the 1 full thin, put in 1 full thick, and if this doesn't solve all my problems, I will figure out another solution. This is perfect. There you go. There we go. So now it fits. Let's see if it's tight. Get using it full and back. Okay, so I'll keep the 1 thin on the one side. Or no, the 1 thick. So 2 thick on one side, 1 thin, one I think we have it. I'm going to put a little thin one on top. The back side, treble side, and quite confident this time. Yeah. Whew. Okay, this is perfect. Now it's really tight. It's not sitting all the way. In order to get it to sit all the way, what I have to do is now take clamping caul. Just right here. This is why people don't really want to do dovetails, is because it's a little tricky. That's when you gotta just be brave. Pull it into place. Without smashing it. Pushing in the middle of the dovetail, above it to the back. Perfect. In. Now, what you have is a super strong dovetail. Like, it's not going to come off. And there's no glue in there. It's just the dovetail. So then, for my insurance policy, my little seat belt, put the bolt in place. And that's good. Now it's ready for me to sand the radius into the front door. So, and then later on I'll show you my little gluing trick. But the idea is to have a nice tight looking dovetail. And it's tricky. Like, again, I make things look easier. So it took a little while, as you can see. It'll probably take somewhere in the neighborhood of an hour to get the shims set up properly. So just relax. If you do it in 10 minutes, it's fantastic.